Hello everyone, this hour on Verbling, the next in my Hot Topic series. We're working on our second hour of the Hot Topic. We're working on the second hour, which is 3D printing now, wow, coming soon. The question we're debating, or we're going to debate in just a minute, is will 3D printing really change the world? For all the hype over three-dimensional printing, it is still unclear exactly how and when it will have an impact on our daily lives. So today we're going to try to take a look at, in this hour, we're going to finish reading a short article which gave a kind of introduction and hype for 3D printing. And then I've got some interesting case studies and expert opinions for you to read and summarize, and we'll have a debate based on what we've read and some ideas that are presented. So that's a bit about the class. Here's a bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means when you're not speaking, try to turn your microphone off so we can keep the classroom quiet. When you are speaking, tune in to the new words you learn. Use them actively so that I can correct you and give you feedback. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. So, if you open the class material, you will see this link, not this link, sorry, this graphic, and I will also give that to you right here. You'll see in the chat window, material, there you go. And I'll put it as well in the group chat inside the Hangout right now. There you go. There you go. Okay, so you can open that up yourself or download it if you prefer. In the first part of this article from The Economist, we learned that according to at least the author of the article, this is the biggest change to happen in manufacturing and maybe in the economy, the global economy, since the Industrial Revolution. It starts by saying the Industrial Revolution of the late 18th century made possible the mass production of goods, thereby creating economies of scale, which changed the economy and society in ways no one could have imagined. I don't really know what they mean by economies of scale, but I think they mean the scale of production. Things were able to be produced in a way that no one could have seen possible. Things that took months or years were reduced to days and weeks, right? Think about things like how long it took to make a house in the 1700s as opposed to now, right? People would spend generations building a castle, right? With mass production, you could have your dwelling place or a massive office building bigger than a castle in just a matter of weeks. And there's many other applications as well. So we're going to start by completing that first article, which is on slide number 9 here. That was the basic introduction. By the way, Araceli and Alvaro, did you learn anything else in that introduction besides that the author thinks this is the biggest change since the Industrial Revolution? Was there any other details that you could share for Jason and Raphael? Anything else come to mind that they ought to know before we continue?
Well, one of the points I think is that you don't need a factory to create things, but
right.
It's almost in your house or in a small.
So with 3D printing, you can do it anywhere, even in your own home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good point. Yeah. And Araceli, would you add anything to that? Any other points they should know?
Yes, I remember we were reading about it's easier for producers to change designs with no cost, because if you need a mold, it's very expensive to make different things, different objects for different customers. But with this technology, it's much easier.
Technologies.
Technology.
Right. There you go. There you go. Okay. Does that make sense, Jason, Raphael, what they're saying? Do you get the general idea so far?
Yes, but I confess that I'm kind of lost because I was not here before.
Sure.
But I think it will be fine.
All right. Let's read the rest of this short article, and then we'll bring you up to speed, okay? Basically, we've just talked very generally about what 3D printing is. That's so you haven't missed a whole lot. We've worked more on vocabulary. All right. So I think Yuki, you were the next to read, and then it'll be Raphael and then Jason. Okay, so we're on jobless technology, Yuki.
The jobless technology. A technological change so profound will reset the economics of manufacturing. Some believe it will decentralize the business completely, reversing the urbanization and accompanied industrialization. There will be no need for factories, goes the logic, when every village have a fabricator and can produce items when needed. Up to a point, perhaps, but the economy and social benefits of cities go far beyond their ability to attract workers to man assembly lines.
Yeah, there's two words there we should just clarify. First, for Jason and Raphael, who are not in the first hour, Yuki, what's a fabricator for them to know? What's a fabricator?
Fabricator means manufacturer.
Yeah. The printer, in other words. Yeah. It's a synonym for 3D printer in this case.
Yes.
Yeah, manufacturer or printer. Yeah, I agree. And also, this line at the end, to man assembly lines. Maybe that's not clear what that means.
Yes, I think it's lines in the factory where workers create things, assemble things.
Yeah. So to man means to work at the assembly line. In the old days, we would say man, but that's actually sexist language. So we shouldn't really say man assembly lines, but it means to put someone at the assembly line, to work at the assembly line. All right? So Yuki, keep going. The second paragraph, please.
Others maintain that by reducing the need of factory workers, 3D printing will undermine the advantage of low-cost, low-wage countries, and thus repatriate manufacturing capacity to the rich world. It might, but Asian manufacturers are just as well placed as anyone else to adapt the technology. And even if 3D printing does bring manufacturing back to the developed countries, it may not create many jobs, since it is less labor intensive than standard manufacturing.
So where are the jobs now? If they're not in the developed countries, where are they now? Where are all the manufacturing jobs?
Now, with the help of 3D printing technology, manufacturing process go back to the developed countries.
That's the promise, yeah, that it'll go back, right? So maybe all of that production that we sent to China over the last 30 years will come back. That's the idea.
China is regarded as a world factory, but now situation would be changed.
We'll find out soon. We'll find out soon enough. So Raphael, why don't you take the next paragraph? We're almost done actually, where it says the technology behind it.
Okay. The technology behind it. The technology will have implications not just for the distribution of capital and jobs, but also for intellectual property rules. When objects can be described in a digital file, they become much easier to copy and distribute and, of course, to pirate.
Just repeat this word. Distribute.
Distribute.
That's it. Okay, good.
Just ask the music industry. When the blueprints for a new toy or a designer shoe escape onto the internet, the chances that the owner of the IP will lose out are greater.
Right. What's a blueprint? Is that clear? What do we mean by blueprint? Normally we think of blueprint in architecture.
I don't know.
The architect has to look at a blueprint. The architect draws a blueprint, and the construction company does what?
Is it like a model?
It's like a model, but it's on paper. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a schema of the building.
Okay.
So what's the blueprint for here? It's not for a building, but it's for what? Is it clear?
It's just a plan.
A plan.
Here. Yes.
Which a plan which
maybe
will be
how to say, scheme in the computer on the scheme of products on the computer. Maybe you can use this program. How to say I can't remember. Some kind of program to make a scheme of the final product. So blueprint is here.
And then print it, right?
Yes.
Then print it out. So the blueprint is the scheme or plan that you'll use, and you'll just, transfer the file digitally and then print it out. So that's what they mean. So it's like the software. Okay, and keep going. Sorry, Raphael. Keep going. The second paragraph there on the bottom of 9. There are
to be calls for restrictions.
There are sure to be calls. There are sure to be calls.
There
are sure.
There are sure to be calls for restriction on the use of 3D printers and lawsuits about how existing IP laws should be applied. As with open source software, new non-commercial models will emerge. It is unclear whether 3D printing requires existing rules to be tightened, which could hamper innovation. Hamper
means stop, basically.
Innovation, or loosened, which could encourage piracy. The lawyers are no doubt rubbing their hands.
The lawyers are no doubt rubbing their hands. Why are they rubbing their hands, Raphael? Why are the lawyers rubbing their hands? Are their hands wet and they're trying to dry them? Are they cold?
No, because they're trying to work on this problem.
Not exactly. Lawyers are rubbing their hands because they're waiting for the money to start flowing in. They just can't wait. They're rubbing their hands together anxiously because the money's coming. Is that clear? So this is an Sorry, go ahead.
I'm a lawyer, and I need problems to earn money. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's it. They have a lot of problems coming their way, and they can't wait. So this is an expression, rubbing your hands. You can visualize it. If you're anxious, you can't wait for something. You start rubbing your hands together. You're so excited about it.
I cannot make money if everything is in peace.
Exactly. So it's a good problem for the lawyers. Okay, Jason, you're going to do our last paragraph there. Can you see it? Just as?
Yes. Just as nobody could have predicted the impact of the steam engine in 1750, or the printing press in 1450, or the transistor in 1950, it is impossible to foresee the long-term impact of 3D printing, CQ.
Forget about CQ. We'll return to that later.
Okay. But the technology is coming, and it's likely to disrupt every field it touches. Companies, regulators, and entrepreneurs should start thinking about it now. One thing, at least, seems clear. Also, 3D printing will create winners and losers in the short term. In the long run, it will expand the realm of industry and imagination.
Okay, very good, very good. By the way, just one word, although. Right. Although 3D printing will create winners and losers. Okay, let that sink in for a minute. What I've got for you to think about that is I mark the text with its initials CQ in various sentences. Each of those CQ sentences refers to comprehension quiz. So, to make sure that you're following this, I've created a few statements. Some of them are a little difficult here. I was trying to challenge you. So from 1 to 10, I've got some statements where I've pulled out a sentence from the text and I've changed it in some way. So I've either made it true or I've made it false. In most of the cases, there's a key word you have to understand in order to know if it's true or false. Okay, but I've made it easier for you by putting the initial CQ next to the sentence. So I'm pretty sure these are in order, okay, if you want to double check. So let's see what you can do from memory, and if you like, jump back to the text and find the CQ, and it'll help you. Additive manufacturing is cheaper and better than regular approaches. What do you think? Based on what we've read today. Remember, this is according to the article. It's not your opinion, it's not my opinion.
I think it is a false.
Okay. And why would you say that? Justify your reason. Justify your false. Why false?
Maybe it's true, sorry.
Okay, justify your true.
Yes, so here additive manufacturing means the manufacturing process using 3D printing technology. So, so if you want to produce something little quantity of things, it costs lower than conventional way. So additional manufacturing should be cheaper and better than conventional approaches.
Yeah, that's one way I would justify it. The article definitely states that it's cheaper. And maybe there's there's some other things. It says it requires only 1/10 the amount of material as well. So it's better because of that sentence in the first paragraph, 1/10 the amount of material. It's better because it's more efficient, right? So cheaper for sure, and also more efficient. So I would go with true for that one. I agree. All right, let's go around the room. What do you say? Let's see if you can get that. Raphael, why don't you read number 2 for us and give us your opinion. Actually, this one is not fair because I think you weren't in the class when we read that paragraph.
But I may have an idea about this.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong. 3D printing will not only improve manufacturing, it will increase jobs. I think it is false because once you use technology, when you use it too much, we tend to substitute people. So that's why I don't think jobs will be increased.
I agree completely. So actually the reference there to number 2 is also in the first paragraph, and it says it cuts costs by getting rid of production lines. If you get rid of the production lines, you get rid of the people. So how can you increase jobs if everything is more or less automated? I agree completely. So number 2, we're going to go with false. Very good. Now, Jason, can you want to try number 3?
Yeah. 3D printing was first used in production lines, but now it's good enough to use on its own. I think it's not true today, but in the future,
okay, good.
Yeah, it might be true with the development of the printing of the 3D printing. It might be true.
So it sounds like are you saying true or false though?
No, false.
It's false. I agree. Can you justify that?
Yeah, because in the future it might be true, but no, it's not enough. The 3D printing, no, it's not enough developed to bring this technology to people and to allow people to use this on its own.
Okay. I agree that it's false, but not for that reason.
Oh.
Not for that reason. This one is a little tricky. If you go to the CQ initials in paragraph 2, the first CQ in paragraph 2, the paragraph that says for many years 3D printers were used, that paragraph, for prototyping. Everyone, take a look at that paragraph again about prototyping. Can you find a different reason? Jason's right that it's false, but not for that reason.
I think it says that for prototyping, some years ago, it was used just for prototyping, and then when when they got a good model, they would use production lines. But
after they got the model, they'd set up production lines, right?
Yeah. So it was not using for itself for the production lines. It was just for trying to get a model.
Yeah, exactly. So it's false, but for the reason that 3D printing was used to set up the production line itself. First you do the 3D printing, then you create the production line to mass produce it. Okay, so Jason, in a way you're right, because in the future we could say that mass production could be done through 3D printing, possibly. But that's not really what that could be true. But what the article really states is that the order doesn't work like that. 3D printing was first used not in production lines, but to create the production lines. First you make the model, then you mass produce it. So the order would be, so it's not part of the production line process, it's a precursor to it. Clear?
Yes.
All right. But anyway, you're still right either way. I think we're on to Araceli for number 4. You read that one for us?
Manufacturers cannot make differently products affordably. I think it's true because with you are using a mold, if you need to make different products, it's going to be very expensive. So I think the sentence, like it is said, it's true. What?
I think it's got the communication from John.
I can't hear you.
Can't, neither.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, internet is down. Okay.
Yes, he dropped off.
Yes. Recently, our teacher has a computer problem, so it often happened.
He's chatting there.
I think he'll come back soon.
Yukino, where are you from? Japan, isn't it?
Yes, I'm from Japan, but currently I live in Russia, in Moscow.
Wow.
Yes. Where are you from?
I'm from Spain, but currently I'm in London.
Oh, you are in London now.
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Just arrived one week ago.
1 week, just. Oh.
Yeah.
How is your impression from London? It's the first time for you?
It's a what?
It's the first time visit for you?
No, it's gonna be like 1 month. I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah, before, yeah?
No, 1 week before and one more month forward. I mean, I'm gonna stay here until the beginning of September.
I see.
But it's a great city, really. Yeah, we have a lot of things to do.
So it's the second time visiting for you, yeah?
It's a what?
It's the second time visit for you to London.
Second time?
Yes.
No, I've really been many times.
Many times?
Yeah, quite close to Spain.
I see.
We have very cheap flights.
Can everyone hear me now?
Yeah?
Yes, I hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. I had some kind of error. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I think it's working now. Sorry about that. Let me get the thing back on screen. Sorry about that, everyone. Let me just see if I can get this back on screen. 1 second. All right, you should be able to see the PDF. I don't know if you can or not. Maybe it's not screen share.
No, I only see your picture in the screen.
Well, it's a nice picture, so.
Yes, I like it.
Are you still there?
I think John was left again, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe he was not getting a good connection because we couldn't see him on the camera, just the picture. Alvaro, you are staying in Britain for holiday, for work, or?
Kind of both. I'm a web developer, so I develop from what my computer is. So I can work from home basically. So I'm kind of just going to several meetups so I can join with people and and talk about stuff.
Do you feel comfortable to go out? I mean, to be on the street and talk to people?
It depends. What do you mean? If they understand me, or if they?
No, maybe because a friend of mine told me. I'm not sure if it's true, and I don't like to judge people from a specific place, and that's something that I don't do. But a friend of mine told me that London was the worst place that he could go, sorry, to learn a language, to practice English, because people from London are not very friendly.
Yeah, I think the main point is that in central London there are almost not English people. People are like a little bit far away. So if you go to like pubs or like language schools, then it's gonna be hard to find English people. But if what I'm doing actually is going to, a web page called meetup.com.
I think, Raphael, it is not true. Most people living in London is friendly. Only they are not British.
Yeah.
Many of them is from another countries.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, right.
but they speak English excellently. So,
okay, I understand.
So you can experience completely English atmosphere in London.
Just to clarify, it's not my opinion.
Yes.
But a friend of mine told me that, and I kind of agree with you, but you are saying that people from different countries living in London, so they are not native. I mean, I
Yes,
understand what you
they are
say.
not native, but their English is excellent. Some British people say that British people speak English worse than foreigners.
No. I mean, no. It's not like that. I mean, the point is that British people don't speak English as you learn in the books, but it's the same in Spanish. I mean, we don't speak like we teach foreigners to speak, because you speak quicker and you have your idioms, and nobody speak like in a book. And I guess it's the same for your languages, no? I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if this works now. So you should be able to see the PDF.
yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Okay, fine. All right. This is still a mystery about why the Hangout kicks me out, because I've changed everything on my computer. It's been working really well for the last 2 days, but I don't know. I can't figure it out. I think it's something to do with Chrome. I don't know. I need to hire an expert. I can't fix it. Okay, so we were on 3D printing should spur innovation. Alvaro, I think that was you. According to the article, should 3D printing spur innovation?
Okay. Can you hear me? No?
Yep.
Okay. I think it's true. I mean, as you get cheaper to create new designs, it would certainly be a lot of new products and things. No?
I agree. Yeah, I think it's true, and I don't remember I can tell you in a minute where in the article it says that, but yes, generally it was true. I'll give you the sentence in just a second, because I don't want to open the document on this computer. I'm going to open it on a second computer because I'm afraid of getting kicked out again.
Okay.
All right.
Go on with the next question.
We'll come back to that in just a second. Okay, so for the last 4 or 5 here, or last 5, I'm sorry. You just call out the answer, and we'll just do it like that. Take volunteers. Number 6, the Industrial Revolution manufactured cities just as factories manufactured products. This is an inference. You have to infer from the sentence. It's not stated explicitly. So what do you think about this one? This is an analogy. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's true.
Araceli thinks it's true. Okay.
Yeah, because with the Industrial Revolution, people needed to live at cities because the factories were located there.
Precisely, yeah.
But now, maybe with this technology, it's not going to be so important where you live exactly.
So, for number 6, now doesn't matter. What matters is this analogy. The Industrial Revolution manufactured cities. So you're saying it's true, and I actually agree with you. I think that was one of the products of the Industrial Revolutions, that people had to get away from farms, live in the city. Just as factories manufactured products. And that is I think that is a good thing to infer from the article, right? So if we're going to base it on, let me just see if I can find the sentence for you. I'm opening this on my tablet, and I can't really see the whole, I can't see the whole page for some reason. But
there is a word in the text, urbanization.
Urbanization, yeah. Right.
Urbanization. So.
Yeah, that's it. You see the little CQ next to the sentence. Decentralized business completely, reversing the urbanization that accompanies industrialization. That's it. So it's like it was inferring from that sentence. Okay. And number 7, manufacturing to the rich world is patriotic. You have to infer. manufacturing to the rich world, to the developed world, is something that is patriotic. Can we infer that, Alvaro?
But patriotic for who? For the rich countries or for the poor?
No, for the rich countries. It's patriotic. Can we infer that?
I would say yes, in a way. I mean, because you get jobs back.
Oh, but we don't get jobs back. Remember?
I mean, right now jobs are in Asia, in China, and places like that.
Absolutely.
If you can make products with less people, then you can pay like 2 good salaries in like Europe or the States.
Well, here's what I would say. If you look at the next paragraph, the next CQ, you have the sentence, others maintain that by reducing the need for factory workers, 3D printing will undermine the advantage of low-cost, low-wage countries, and thus repatriate manufacturing capacity to the rich world. So you had to infer from the word repatriate. So does that mean that manufacturing is patriotic?
It gets back to the country. What means patriotic? That will be one point. But I mean, that is good for your country. Right?
Patriotic means that we believe in the country. USA, USA, right?
So if we get jobs back to my country, then I believe in my country. No? So it's patriotic.
If that was the case, yeah. But the article is telling us the exact opposite. in that paragraph, the word is
false.
It's false, right? Because it will undermine this repatriation. So repatriation does mean bring workers back, bring manufacturing back, repatriating. Yes, that's true. But the article says it will undermine repatriation because there won't be more jobs necessarily. Not necessarily more jobs. So it's actually false. So we had to play with the meaning of the word patriotic and repatriate there.
Okay.
And what about number 8? Intellectual property rights may be a thing of the past, or a new era in legal battles may begin. True or false?
Yes.
Say again, Jason? I think that was Jason.
No, sorry, just yes, the intellectual property maybe spark a battle about yes, maybe spark a legal battle because the intellectual property maybe escape easier than in the past because everybody has the possibility to make some product.
By the way, don't say the possibility. That's French. You have
Sorry.
to say will be able to.
Because everybody will be able to make projects for this technology.
Okay, so was it true or false? I didn't understand the beginning.
It's true.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Okay, because the line here is technology will have implications, not just for the distribution of capital, blah blah blah, but also for the rules themselves. Right? I think that's the line I was working off of in that paragraph. The technology behind it. So yeah, okay, it's true.
So new technology will change the conventional law, and it also changed the intellectual property rules.
So the lawyers are rubbing their hands together in anticipation.
Yes.
That's it. Okay, and the last two. The long-term impact of 3D manufacturing is pretty clear. True or false, according to the article?
Yes,
false.
true.
I got one false and I got one true. Which is it?
I think it's false because it's
false.
not clear at all. Because we don't know how it's going to develop things, how things are going to develop.
So we got lots of possibilities, but we don't really know how it's going to end up. Okay? Do we agree or we disagree with Araceli?
Agree with.
We agree. Okay, I agree too.
Sorry.
And last one, society will be more imaginative as additive manufacturing develops. This is another inference you have to make. According to the article, society will be more imaginative.
True.
True. Jason says true. Why?
Because everybody has the access to this technology, so the amount of ID is more important than in the past.
The what of ideas? I couldn't hear the word. The
amount, the number of ID.
The number of ideas. What was the word you used? Advance? Did you say?
Amount.
Amount. I'm sorry. It's hard to hear you.
Yes.
You got to wear headphones. You got to get a microphone next to your mouth because you sound like you're very far away in the room. So that's why it's a little bit hard to hear you. The amount of ideas. Well, I agree with you. I think it's true. The last sentence says, one thing seems clear. Although 3D printing will create winners and losers, in the long run, it will expand the realm of the industry and imagination. So people will be able to dream up new ideas, and they'll be able to make prototypes right away. So it will help with the process of being creative, according to the article. All right, now that we've got a solid foundation in what a 3D printer is, now what I was going to have you do is read some expert opinions, but I don't know if we really even have time to do that because I'm afraid it's going to take too long. What I'd rather do is just talk about it as a class to get your opinions. Let me see if I can. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to turn my camera off because I can't shut the window right now. You can't see me, so I have to keep the camera off for a moment. So let me just see what I was going to do here. What I wanted to do was ask you some discussion questions, and I've got one more little kind of a case study that I want to introduce. It's really short. It's about surgery. And it's something really unexpected. I think I have the link to the article there. Give me just a second. Yeah, this BBC article and video. I'm not going to play the video, but I'm just going to quickly summarize the article, and I'll give you the link is there, but I'll put it there in the chat window as well. Because it's something really unexpected, an unexpected application of 3D printing. So there's an article. If you click on that link, you can take a look at it. You can watch the video if you like. The video is very graphic, I think, because it's about surgery. So if you don't want to see surgery, don't watch it. But it says, pioneering 3D printing reshapes a patient's face in Wales. And I'll just share my screen for this. And you can see the guy there. Can everyone see the picture on screen?
No, I see your face. No, okay. Now I see.
Wait, let me put it back. Okay, there you go. So, does he look normal to you in that picture?
Yes.
Yeah, he looks pretty normal.
Normal.
He's got a plastic skull. So what they did was they took a scan. They took a scan of his skull. They used software to try to create a symmetrical half of his skull, and they just did a copy paste. They put it like it made a mirror image of the the right half of his skull. They then fed the information into a 3D printer, and they then printed a plastic mold, not a plastic mold, but a plastic piece that was the same shape as the right half to replace the damaged left half of his face. So you can see there at the beginning, a survivor of a serious motorbike accident had pioneering surgery to reconstruct his face using a series of 3D printed parts. Let me just skip. I'm not going to read the article. I just want to summarize one or two parts here. Okay, here you can see a before and after picture. He looks a lot better. He was pretty bad. Let's see if we can take a look. I don't know if they showed the skull here. There. You can see the part that they printed right there. in white. So in order to restore the symmetry of his face, a surgical team used CT scans to create and print symmetrical 3D models of Mr. Power's skull, followed by cutting guides and plates printed to match. So basically, it's just like something you do in Photoshop. You just, if you want to make a quick symmetrical design, you take half of the image, you use the mirror function to copy paste, and then from that thing they can work out the three-dimensional image. In this case, they've scanned it, and then they print it. I just wanted to share that with you because it gets you thinking about the possibilities of 3D printing besides just manufacturing. How hard would that be to do? And it reminds me of the H.G. Wells story, The Isle of Dr. Moreau, where he's able to create animals that can think and walk and speak because he's a vivisectionist, and he's cutting together animals, and somehow he people, but they're all sort of cut together, mixed and matched together. That's what it was like before 3D printing. So can you think of any other applications for 3D printing that are innovative like this that might not, I mean, it certainly seems like we've got some new and revolutionary things on the horizon. Does it surprise you to see it used in this way?
I heard already in Japan, 3D printing technology is practiced in many areas. One of these is creating special ordered details by little scaled company. So before the factory is needed to manufacture something, but now with the help of 3D printer, every person, even the small company, can create the material, tools, details, and they already provide a new service for customers. For example, there are many manga, anime otaku in Japan, lovers in Japan. Anime otaku. Otaku means lover.
Rubber.
Fans. Anime fans in Japan. Yes, figure models of
figures.
Figure models from famous anime characters are quite popular among
like little toys or dolls.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Before, it is very difficult to get a favorite character in animes, even if it's a minor character. But now, with 3D printer, you can get any characters in anime series with low cost. So some small company provide new service.
So these little companies, they can manufacture it themselves in their office. They don't need to to hire.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
There are such a service. You can create a scheme in the computer in CAD software. You can send it to the company, and the company manufactures it with a 3D computer and send it back to the customer. There is such a service already appeared in America and in Japan.
Yeah, but check this out. If you have your own 3D printer in your house, right, they could just email you the plan and you could just print it out yourself. You don't even have to leave your room.
Yes. Still, the cost of 3D printer is quite high, but in the near future, the cost will be reduced quickly. So you can buy a printer, 3D printer with low cost, so you can create your own products.
Jason, what would you print out if you had your own 3D printer? What kinds of things do you think would be useful in everyday life that you could print out that would save you time or effort or money?
I think item would be useful. No.
Which item?
No, I would say if I had the choice to choose one object or several objects, I would choose an object very useful for the daily for every day.
Such as?
Yeah. Such as.
I'm just curious. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe I'm used to make some riding with my bicycle.
Right.
So I think it would be useful to have a bottle of water for my bike, and if I may create, if I had the possibility to make a bottle,
if I would be able,
I would be able to make a bottle for my bike. It would be good and cool.
Yeah, I mean, also like tools. Like I'm always losing the little Allen wrenches when you've got to like make, you've got little minor repairs. I'm always losing the little pieces. So you could almost print them out to order if you wanted to. A bike might be a little bit big to print, but parts for it or the tools to fix it. There's another case I was thinking of. There's a news about printing organs. Instead of doing organ transplants per se, using 3D printers to print out an organ, you don't need a donor. You print the organ itself in the 3D printer, and then you grow the tissue. So they print out the structure. This is not an everyday life kind of thing. This is a serious medical procedure.
Yes.
But if I understand the idea, I think Raphael's having major connection problems. He keeps coming and going.
It would be a great news for disabled people. Yes.
Yeah, or anyone who just or old people or pretty much anyone. I mean, I can't think of a case where it wouldn't be good. But for example, they take the material of the cell, whatever you call it, I forgot the name of it, but the cellular material with nothing inside of it. They print it out, and it looks like a white kind of see-through transparent thing. And they print it out, then they put in stem cells, and the stem cells, through magic, I mean, I don't know if anyone's clear exactly how it works, but the stem cells, if they get the right stem cells, basically create the tissue that's needed. What that means is you're not going to reject in the organ because it's your own tissue that's been grown. Because that's the problem. You get a heart transplant, your body doesn't like other people's tissue. It will create antibodies and reject it. So there should be no rejection to the material because it's your actual cells. But this could just be, and I'm thinking of other cases where there's a few cases where people have had cosmetic surgery, like, for example, getting an ear, right? They printed out the ear, filled it with stem cells, implanted it underneath the shoulder blade of the person. So it was a place where there'd be a rich supply of blood that could be nutrients for the growing cells. Then they have surgery, a really minor surgery, to remove the ear, and then they attach it to the face. This is a true story. I mean, this happened like a year or two ago. So that's another application that comes to mind.
Because they have only short-timed plan, so they don't understand the human body is changing every day. especially in people in young age, children and teenagers, they are growing every day. So it is dangerous to use 3D printed plastic parts as a part of body.
But in this case, it's not plastic. I don't know. I don't remember the exact material they're using. But the point is, you create a kind of a mold, and you inject human stem cells into the mold.
Yes.
Right. So it's actually your own tissue, and the mold is there just to give it shape, and it's organic material. It's not plastic. It's cellular material, but it's empty.
But I heard IP cells technology. It is called IP cells. Enable to adjust to every person's body, because they by producing body parts, they use the special material pull out from particular person, so you can completely you can get body parts completely fit to you. So I think there is no problem with it, no?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. If I remember the experiment that I remember seeing, it was like on the news, was or a documentary or something, was that they took a heart, they dissolved the organic material and left the cellular material, and then they could re-inject it with stem cells. But they could do the same thing by printing out the material so that it would fit and be the right shape. So maybe there's more than one way to go about it. But the point is, it should eliminate rejection. Or in other cases, like with this surgery, they have to. You can't mass manufacture a skull. You have to scan that person's skull to make it symmetrical. So it's just another example. And Alvaro, do you think there's any negatives about 3D printing? I mean, is there anything we ought to be worried about? Because it sounds like there's a lot of innovation coming along.
Yeah, I would like to point out one innovation I've seen both in Madrid and in London.
Sure.
Which is like printing 3D devices which auto-replicate themselves. So you have a machine which creates a machine which is exactly the same that the previous machine, and which can create other machines.
Like for what would the application be for that?
I think that I'm not sure actually, but I think they wanted that for creating robots which can auto fix their problems.
Mm-hmm. Not auto in English. We say self. Self.
Sorry. Can self fix.
Self-fix. Fix themselves, self-fix, right?
Which can fix themselves when they have problems. And in the long run, I think you can guess that you can create kind of a new race. No?
A kind of a new what?
Race.
Race?
I mean, like human and robots.
What? What do you mean? Wait a second. That's.
What I mean is that they don't need human any longer because they can, just.
Oh, they can because they can reproduce.
Yeah, that's the point, and they don't need us to fix them.
Oh, that's so cute. They can. Oh, look at the little baby robot. The little baby robot. Yeah, very good. Maybe we can be friends with them, or maybe they'll take over the world.
No, that's for next class.
That's another class. Araceli, one of the obvious problems is that we will get rid of production lines and people won't have jobs. How do you think we would address that problem? Imagine a world where everyone is a 3D printer and we have very few, if any, assembly lines. They're not necessary, even for car parts. Well, how's that going to be a good thing for the economy? What can we do to address the problem, in your opinion?
I don't know, because that's been a problem for a long time, because as technology is improving, jobs are being lost. But I think lost, yeah. But I think it's the same thing all the time. You need more qualified workers. You need people to design the plans for and to improve technology, and the mechanical and boring work, like when in production lines it was very repetitive and mechanical jobs. So it's logical that this is going to be substituted by machines. But we, the humans, have the ability to learn, design new things, to think. So I think it can move to more qualified jobs required, unless low qualification jobs.
Everyone can just be better educated. In other words, you don't need manual labor. In the 1960s, I remember I wasn't alive in the 1960s, but I remember famous Italian filmmaker Antonioni, Michelangelo Antonioni, was making films about beautiful factories and beautiful. He's like, for example, the Red Desert, Il Deserto Rosso, and people said, well, why do you have this ugly factory in the movie? And he said, it's not ugly. We have to appreciate a new kind of beauty and a new kind of aesthetic. And the colors I used in the factory were there for a reason, to show you that in this kind of mass industrial produced future world is only ugly because we're looking at it from our point of view now. But we've got to, one of the things he remember talking about in an interview was, we're going to have to find new ways of having leisure time, because everything will, mass production will take over, there'll be no more manual labor, and everyone's going to have lots and lots of time on their hands. So leisure will be a problem in the future. People won't know how to fill their time. Boy, was he wrong.
Or maybe less people are needed.
I think he had a great idea, and I love his films, but certainly from the 1960s until now, the exact opposite is true. We don't have more leisure time. It's if you look at the trends in not manufacturing, but in work standards, the precise opposite thing has happened. Wages have literally gotten lower and lower over the past 30 years because they've stagnated, and jobs are fewer, and manufacturing has been completely shipped out. So it sounds like a great plan, but the reality is that that's not really what happened.
Yes, you are true. From the masterpiece of film, Metropolis, mass production and labor used by manufacturing process and robot is a main theme of the cinematography, but now situation is completely changed, and they are completely another world from the films that describe the future in 1915s, 16s, 17s, 18s. Yes, it is completely different world.
Well, I agree. Yeah, one of the things I think that has happened in the so-called developed world, is that the economy moved from manufacturing to service, and what that amount. And then the problem is that the protection was taken away. Lots of protection that was won in the 60s and 70s has been eroded. At least that's what you read about in the media. So it's almost like, yeah, we've got way more automation. Maybe we've got 3D printing even, who knows? But we've got a slave class that's growing. I don't mean real slaves. There are real slaves, but what I mean is that, okay, look at the migrant workers, look at the scandal in America of tens of thousands of migrant workers and children coming up from places like Ecuador and Guatemala and Honduras, where there's major problems with safety and crime, and they're being shipped to the United States only to be turned away or put in camps. So there's that, and then inside of the States, this is my own country, I'm just thinking about the news, less job security, everyone is a freelance worker. So the movement, you would think that this ideal of everyone is to live freely like the Greek thinkers. They didn't have to work. You know, the robots were supposed to be the slaves, but it seems to me that the people are more slaves.
You are completely right. The structure of working force is have been changed and now changing. It is completely different. And I think some workers lose more and more workers lose job, and on the another side, another kind of worker get a new job. So it's a workers with a skilled worker with the ability of creating something. Workers who just doing something as someone ordered, maybe will be disappeared in the future.
Extinct.
Extinct.
Maybe. Well, we've got to go. Final thoughts? Jason, Araceli, Alvaro, final thoughts? What should we leave with thinking about based on our experience today? Just out of curiosity.
I think you are too negative about developing. I mean, the people who are now working in industry were previously working in farms and work in the countryside, which looks like happy when we are in the cities, was quite tough. So I think that things are getting much better.
There you go. Final thoughts, Araceli, Jason?
Yeah, I would say 3D printing is a good opportunity to people who want to make their own activity instead of be part of a corporate or a big company, because the job opportunity is less numerous than in the past. So create its own activity is good opportunity, and with the 3D printing, it's a good help for this.
Yeah, if you can afford the 3D printer, you're basically an entrepreneur, right? At least you could show the prototype to everyone. But so as the costs come down, I think, Jason, you've got a good point. Entrepreneurship should rise as the cost goes down, because it's one thing to have an idea. It's a very different thing to be able to show someone something. I'm thinking about that guy who's trying to get his interstellar spaceship engine approved by NASA, and he's got a Kickstarter campaign to build the model for the engine. The engine has no open parts, so the acceleration happens inside of a closed space. And he's had this idea for years. He's trying to get NASA interested, and I believe that they are finally taking him seriously. But the whole idea is that he says our concept of rocket engines is completely wrong. It's always been wrong, because we let the propellant escape from the rocket. If you close the back of the rocket and nothing escapes, you have an unlimited source of power, in theory. And he has a clever way of getting around the loss of energy. It's an interesting idea. So he's getting a Kickstarter campaign together to manufacture a prototype. Well, what if he could 3D print his prototype and at least it maybe not have, okay, he probably could get the working model done, but I'm saying he could create something that he could really show people in an easy way. Just something else that comes to mind. I don't know if it's a good example. Well, we're out of time. I hope that this gets you thinking about technology, the future, and some great vocabulary like to undermine. That was a good vocabulary word. Fabricator, fabrication. By the way, I've got some homework for you. One of them is already done. You can go back to the article and try to fill in the other forms of the words in the word family box. And I've got some other vocabulary exercises I'll put there for you after class if you want to do that. I'll put the answers there for you to self-correct. And as always, Send me questions and comments through the Verbling message system. I'll be happy to help you out. And suggestions for future classes, just let me know. Okay? Send me questions and comments. I'll be back tomorrow for Learning Through Pictures at 10 GMT. Great class. Bye for now, everyone. See you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.